From Studio 3 at Buzz TV, it's The Horse's Mouth with Tom McManus.
All right, time once again for Up Close and Personal here on The Horse's Mouth, of course, on Buzz TV, and back in my bar, back at Tommy Mac's, brought to our good friends at Heritage Capital. We're talking bourbon whiskey. Yeah, we drink beers on this show, and now we're going to taste a little whiskey. Troy Pepito is here from April One Bourbon Whiskey. Let's welcome him in.
Awesome.
Troy, how
Thanks,
are you,
Tom.
brother?
Thanks for having me on the show.
Good to see you, man.
Appreciate it, yeah.
All right, I love the name April One. How did you come up with the name? Let's start with that.
I started with my Navy roots. I retired from the Navy after 20 years.
Cheers to
as
that.
a Chief
God
Petty
bless
Officer.
you.
Thank
Nice.
you. Cheers. And on April 1st, 1893, the Chief Petty Officers were established in the United States Navy.
Okay.
So I just kind of went back to my roots and went into that. I was originally going to talk about, I wanted to put 1893 on there.
Right.
Submitted the trademark, and they came back and said, no, Coca-Cola owned it. So I was like, ow. But then they were like, there's not a month and a day. So I was like, all right, we're going to go April 1.
April 1. That
Yeah.
makes a lot of
that's how we
sense.
got the
Very
name.
cool. All right, so let's back up a little bit. What was your role in the Army? What was your position?
So in the Navy, I did.
Navy,
in the Navy, yeah. So I started as a deckhand, bosun mate. I did 5 years in Hawaii on a guided missile destroyer.
Okay.
9/11 happened, and after we got back from that deployment, I became a Master at Arms, which is a Navy MP.
Okay.
And I did that for 15 years, traveling from base to base. And then on my way out the door, I knew I wanted to retire, and I needed a job, and I didn't want to work for anybody. So what was my extra strategy? I was a home brewer. I got into making beer, and then worked with a couple wineries, and they asked if I could help get them into the Navy exchanges.
Okay.
So through some networking, we were able to get them into the exchange. So it was kind of, I was like, got into military sales. So it's kind of where I went from there.
That is fantastic. What countries were you in? With
So I'm Italy mostly. So I lived in Sardinia for 2 years,
Cool.
came back to the States, and then went back to Italy, where I lived in Sicily for 3.5.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. When you start a bourbon company, what are the biggest challenges? I mean, aside from competition being out there, but how do you get it off the ground?
The legalities, you got to really understand what the laws are. There's 50 different states, 50 different laws, and you got to kind of navigate that. And so when I left service, I worked with a distillery called Hotel Tango, and that's when I really got into learning the lay of the land in the beverage industry. And there's a lot of networking going on involved with that. I mean, as you said, it's competitive.
Yep.
It's out of control, so you get at least new. When I first started, I'd call, nobody would answer. Now you get out and you get to meet people, and now people are answering the phone. It makes it a little bit easier. So.
Well, it's very, very smooth. What is this, 101?
101 proof, yeah.
But you said it came
out the barrel at 120.
120.
And so we took 4 barrels, we blended them together, and we proofed it down to 101.
Nice.
And that's with the flavor profile. So we lined them up, we tasted and see what we liked. We had a little bit of water here. We tasted them without water at cask strength, and we made the decision. It's like, hey, let's bring it down to a lower proof. And I picked 101 because my dad drinks his whiskey at 101 proof. He loves Wild Turkey 101.
Cheers
so the
to
101,
your father.
Cheers to that.
Absolutely, man. Love that.
So.
Okay, so when you're getting started and you're trying to figure out where I'm going to, like, how do you figure that out? Because you're not your own distillery, right?
Correct.
So how do you figure all that? How do you piece that together?
So in the industry, when I coming through, I was like, man, I really don't need to have a distillery. Well, I was like, how do the big brands do it? The ones that don't have, like a Kirkland or something like that, you're like, how do they have a white label? And then I kind of went down that path and peeled apart that onion. It's like, oh, okay, I got to do this. So I got to find a partner distillery. And that way they can handle all the product, because by my license, I'm not allowed to handle all the product. I can have samples and stuff. But went with another veteran distillery out of Colorado called Copper Sky, and they have a production facility called Rick House. Flew out there, met with them, and say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is the expectations. What can we do together? So we ended up partnering together, and they do all the heavy lifting. So they're the back of the house, I'm the front of the house.
Yeah, got it. You're the face.
The face, yeah.
Absolutely, the marketer.
Yeah.
It tastes great. I've already tasted it. I'm going to taste
it
a little bit more. All right, so you distill it down. How do you, and whether it's for your brand or not, how do you make whiskey sweeter or spicier? What do you
So it goes into the ingredients. So you have a mash bill. So you have corn, wheat, rye, and barley are typically the 4 main grains that go into it. Rye gives it a nice spicy, peppery taste, and then the corn and the wheat is what gives it the sweeter. And then and then the age. There's a lot of maturation process involved with it, when the oaks and things like that. But for the most part, this was really spicy. Plus the alcohol content in it gives it a lot more spice. And you're like, how do you kind of bring that down? And so that's when we proofed it down to the 101, gave us us that sweetness.
So you're tasting a lot of whiskey.
A lot.
Troy.
Yeah, a lot.
You're getting good at it, are you?
I would think so. I like to think so. But,
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, where can people find April One?
So April One right now is on april1bourbon.com. So we launched e-commerce side of things. Golden Ox off of Normandy has some bottles, and then Fleming Island Corks and Barrels has you can buy cocktails with it.
Okay, well, we're looking for more spots out there. I'm telling you right now, this is smooth, tasty bourbon. I like bourbon, and this is a good one, man. So cheers to that. All the best to you. Congratulations. And glad to have you part of the Horse's Mouth, man. It's going to be awesome.
Cheers, man.
No doubt about it. All right, that'll do it for us this time around. Here on the Horse's Mouth, make sure you check out Troy's profile, this conversation, and many others at iwantabuzz.com. So until next time, y'all stay safe and be cool out there. We'll see you right here on the Horse's Mouth. Cheers. Hey, Tom McManus here with Carpet Man Flooring. Wow, warehouses the size of football fields filled with rolls of carpet and LVP. That's luxury vinyl planking.
LVP.
Carpet Man's LVP.
Carpet Man.
Carpet Man's
LVP.
The luxury beneath your feet.
Our prices, they can't be beat.
LVP.
Carpet Man's LVP.
Carpet Man Flooring, your hometown flooring store.